Alright guys, how's it going? My name is Sergey and today I'm going to talk to you about sorting algorithms, which are the essential part of data structures and algorithms overall. And today in particular I'm going to talk to you about bubble sort algorithm, which is the simplest, in my opinion, sorting algorithm that we have in data structures. But despite being simple, it doesn't mean that it's less powerful than other algorithms. Of course, there are some disadvantages to using this algorithm, but I think that there are some certain situations in which you might opt to choose using this algorithm, although when it comes to time and space complexity, it's a whole another issue, I believe. But I'm not gonna talk about this problem here in this video. I'm just here to explain you some different concepts, methods, and algorithms implementations using different approaches, different algorithms, and as well as different set of technologies. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna start with absolute scratch, and by the way, I'm using the Ubuntu Linux operating system. You can use whatever operating system you like, it doesn't matter really, but I prefer using Ubuntu. Alright, so also I'm gonna use Visual Studio Code. You might choose another editor of your choice, really doesn't matter, it's up to you completely. Alright guys, so let's begin. I'm gonna say code. Alright, and to get started with, I'm gonna show you a little picture which I found on the internet recently, and which represents this bubble sorting algorithm. In fact, really it's pretty simple and powerful at the same time, I believe, because you are not going to get confused about this algorithm due to the fact that in order to perform this algorithm in an ascending order, for example, to sort elements of an array, for example, you just need to swap two adjacent elements of a particular array. And in the case if the next element is less than the previous element, those elements are gonna be swapped, and this process is gonna continue until the end of the array. So when we reach, you see in this picture, when we reach the end of the array, this number of which is 45 is at the end of the array, and on the next iteration we're gonna start from this number from the start of the array, and we're gonna exclude this sorted number, and we're gonna perform our algorithm until this number, and the same process goes on until the second largest element of the array is going to be put next to this element. Alright, and basically that's it. It's a pretty simple idea. Bubbling algorithm is simple and useful as well, especially if you are preparing for if you are gearing up for an upcoming coding interview, or you might be just interested in sharpening your programming skills as a developer in general. Alright, today I'm gonna use the C++ programming language. You might choose whatever language of choice you want, it doesn't matter really, because aside from some syntactic differences, I believe that the implementation is pretty much the same in every programming language, I suppose. So let's get started, and I'm gonna comment my code as as much as possible so that you guys will be able to refer to it later if you want, of course. Alright, so I'm gonna say bubble sort algorithm implementation in C++ using arrays. Okay, so first of all we're gonna include a couple of directives, IOStream, I believe. Yeah, we're gonna need only one directive, in fact. Yeah, and here, despite using C++ or C or just regular C programming language, I think that we're not gonna need to implement object-oriented approach to solve this problem, because it's pretty simple. It doesn't need to be, overcomplicated, I believe. That's why I think that the implementation in C and C++ is going to be pretty much the same for this particular example. So we're going to say we're going to prototype our functions up here. I'm going to say function operation prototyping, I believe you can say. So, and first of all we're going to need to implement our bubble sorting algorithm function, and the second function is going to be to print all the elements of the sorted array onto the screen, I believe. So yeah, that's our strategy. Pretty simple, as already pointed out before. And let's scaffold out our functions. They're gonna be void because they don't return anything really. We're gonna say void print bubble sort, I believe we can say call it bubble sort. The function is gonna take a couple of parameters. The first one is gonna be the type of array, and guys, for the sake of simplicity and for the sake of this particular example, I will assume that all our elements are gonna be the type of integer, but they really can be anything. They can be string, floats, or even objects. It really doesn't matter. Alright, and the second parameter is going to be the size of the array. So we need to implement this size of an array, because in C++ as well as in the C programming language, arrays are special C-style arrays, I would say. In case you don't know what C-style arrays are, if I can explain in a couple of words, those arrays, they don't know their size. That's why they, in order to pass arrays to functions as arguments, we need to be able to pass the size of the array as well. Otherwise, arrays are gonna decay to pointers, and it's a little bit complicated idea and topic. A separate topic as well might be, but in a couple of words I would say that in order to pass array to functions, you need to know the size of the array, because by default they don't know the size itself. Alright, so, and then the second function is gonna be printing the array. It's gonna be the type of void as well, because we don't return anything really. We're just printing the result onto the screen. Print array. We're gonna pass our array, our sorted array, I would say, and we're gonna pass the size as well. Alright, so next we're gonna scaffold out our little application. Alright, so, and here, down here, we're gonna implement our functions. Function definition, I believe we can say. Alright, first of all we're gonna implement the bubble sort function. Bubble sort function down here. And you know, guys, I like to separate my declaration from function declaration from function definition. I think that it makes you know, the program a little bit more readable and yeah, a little bit more convenient to read for you guys in size. So first of all, what do we need to do? We need to, first of all, we need to iterate through the array from the beginning, right? We need to access each element of the array. Okay, so it's gonna say it's gonna be you know, for loop. Okay, I'm gonna say int not int, sorry about that, guys, for int you know, we're gonna need first of all, we're gonna need the size of the array, of course, and second of all, we will need steps, right, to iterate through our array. So we're gonna say int step is gonna be equal to 1 because we're gonna start with the first step and we're gonna move until the end of the array. Alright, step 1, as well as long as so alright, guys, as long as the step is gonna be less than the size of the array, we're gonna increase it by 1, increment it by 1. Okay, and in here we're gonna have another for loop to iterate through the array. So it seems like my battery is dying. Alright, guys, we need to iterate for the array and compare to adjacent, I would say, elements of the array along the way, right? So we're gonna say for is gonna be an internal for loop as for int I, we're gonna say I, so as long as I is less than the difference between the size and the step, so we're going to increment I by 1. Alright, so basically what does it mean? It means that on each iteration we're gonna decrement you know, our steps. Okay, so for example, so how should I explain it a little bit better? Yeah, let's bring back this little picture. So for example, on the first iteration, when we sorted our array, the first element of the array, which is gonna be 45, as already pointed out before, and then we're gonna iterate through this array, and this element we're not including anymore, and the second, for example, when we sorted our array without this element, we can clearly see that 11 is gonna be the next element and on the next iteration we're going to exclude those two numbers, and there are only gonna be 3 elements remaining. So basically we decrease like size of our array by 1. So what it means, when I say size minus step. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. It's a little bit hard to explain, guys, so if you are not sure what it means, you can do your own little research, and really it's not too hard to figure it out on your own, to be honest. Yeah. But anyways, we're gonna say we're gonna compare, to get started with, we're gonna compare two adjacent elements, as I already pointed out before, and we're gonna say if array I is going to be greater. So, and for this particular example, I'm going to assume that we are sorting our array in the ascending order. If you wanna sort your array in the opposite order, you can change this greater sign to the less sign. All right. But anyways, if array I is going to be greater than array I plus 1, so basically if the previous element of the array is going to be greater than the next adjacent element, we should swap them, and that's it. So we're gonna say we're gonna create a temp variable to perform swapping. I believe you can say swapping. We're gonna say int temp is gonna be equal to array I. Okay. Next, we're gonna say ri is gonna be equal to I plus 1. So, and final step would be ri plus 1 is going to be equal to temp. So basically it's the basic, the simplest swapping algorithm, which you are guys probably familiar with by this point, I believe. Yeah, and basically that's it. Yep. And down here we're gonna just print our array, I believe, sorted array. We're gonna pass our array of integers in the size as well, and we're gonna iterate through the array till the end, and print each value onto the screen. We're gonna use for loop here. I'm gonna say for int I is gonna be equal to 0 as long as I is less than size minus 1, I believe. Yep. I plus plus, like this. Yep. And on each iteration we're gonna print our elements onto the screen. We're gonna say stdcout, and here we can prompt the user, we can let the user to figure out what's going on. We can say stdcout the sorted array, like this. Okay. And here we will say in array I. Yep. I'm gonna make a little space over here, and after we're done, we're gonna print a new line. Out like this, and yeah, basically that's it. I think that, yeah, that's a simple algorithm, as I already mentioned, and all we need to do now is test this algorithm. Alright, we're going to create an array of integers. So we're gonna say int array 1, for example. We're gonna be equal to, 10, 5, 1, 2, 99, 3, minus 10, minus 15, for example. Alright. So we're gonna need to calculate the size of the array for the reasons I was talking about before. We're gonna say int size is equal to, there is special function which is gonna size of calculate the size of the array, but we need to perform division over here. We're gonna say size of array 1 is going to be divided by the size of the first element of the array. Because if we don't perform the division, I believe that this function in C++ is gonna give us the size of the array in bytes, alright? But in order to calculate the number of the elements of our array, we need to divide the size of the array in bytes by the size of the first element, or really of any element of the array, in order to calculate the number of elements in this array. Alright, just simple as that. Yeah, we're gonna invoke bubble sorting function. We're gonna say bubble sort. We're gonna pass array 1 in size as our arguments. Next we need to print our array onto the screen. And by the way, arrays in C++, for those of you guys who don't know, they are by default, they are passed by reference. That's why we don't need to make an expensive copy of an array. And yeah, that's another advantage of using an array data structure in C++ or in C, programming languages. I'm gonna say R1. So we're not gonna work with the copies. Okay, we instead we are working directly with this array. All right, because we have the direct memory access when working with this type of data structure. All right, in C++ at least. So I think that we are ready to test our application, and we're gonna say G++ bubble. Alright, seems like we don't have any issues while compiling our program, which is a good sign. So next we're gonna run our program. Yep, and we need to just make sure that our algorithm is working correctly. Alright guys, seems like we're having a little issue, and I think that because we don't print this element, this number onto the screen, I think that I made a little mistake over here. Here we don't need to subtract our size by 1. I don't know why I did that, so sorry about that, guys. So yeah, now that should be working correctly, I believe. Let's recompile one more time. Let's run our program. Yep, Seems like it is working. So let's add a couple more numbers to make sure that the algorithm is working properly. So we'll need, we can say, 0, for example. We're gonna recompile and we're gonna run. Yep, seems like our little algorithm is working correctly. And yeah, I believe that's it. It was quite a bit of code, not too much, not too bad, I believe. I think that in the next video I'm gonna explain to you guys this very algorithm, but this time I will be using the Python programming language, I believe, just to add some variety to these tutorials. And before we go, I think that we can commit our changes and push them into the repository which I have. And by the way, guys, for those of you who don't know, in the description of my channel there is a link to my repository on GitHub, where I have a couple of projects and another useful stuff. It's not very polished, to be honest, and I apologize beforehand if you are not gonna be pleased with the content that is located on my GitHub page, because to be honest, I don't take proper care of the appearance of my GitHub profile. But anyways, I think that if you have a couple of spare minutes, you might check out my profile. But anyway, we're gonna say git whole commit. We're gonna say verbal searching algorithm C++. And I'm gonna push the changes to the main branch. Okay. Yep, that's it, guys. And yeah, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.